Okay, so history last lesson status of women in India through the ages. Okay, so what was the status of women in India throughout the ages? So throughout the full ages mean early stages, after this, like that. So introduction, generally human society is constantly changing with addition, assimilations and omissions from within and outside. Women constitute half of the population. This is imperative to have a historical understanding of the status of women through ages. So, okay, so what are the things in that introduction part? So, human society in general is constantly evolving, observing, expressing, and reviewing changes from within and without. Okay, that is the first paragraph. Human society in general is constantly absorbing, expressing, removing changes from within and without. And also, women make up the majority of the population. Okay, equal population compared to men. Okay, so women make up the majority of the population, making it historically impossible to understand the status of women at different times. So what's our topic is status of women in the India throughout the ages, but that is impossible to understand the status of women at different times because women make up the majority of the population throughout the ages equal to the men. So it is కొంచెం కష్టం. Okay, like that. Yeah, and then in the second para, what they said that the status of woman has never been the same in all period. Okay, so the status of woman has never been same. எப்பயும் சேமா இல்லை in all period and even at the regional level in ancient India, especially in the earlier scriptures, women were given equal rights and respect. So the status of women has never been the same in all the ages, all the periods. Okay, so in the ancient India, in the earlier stages, women were given equal rights. Okay, so women were given equal rights and respect. But in the end of the result, okay, in the end of the result, as a result of the continuous foreign invasions, their condition in the community deteriorated and they were imprisoned and relegated to a secondary position. Okay, and then women played an important part in Indian freedom struggle. Until independence, there was no radical changes in status of women. In independent India, last few decades have witnessed the all-around development of women. Women are now making their presence felt in every walk of life. Okay, so new social practices and customs entered the society. New social practices and customs entered our society and imposed some restrictions on the freedom of women. Okay, so after the in the ancient period of India on new social practices because the foreign country came to the India, our country. So they provided some social practices and custom centered society. They imposed some restrictions, rules and regulation only for women. Okay, that is a restriction on the freedom of women. But women played an important role in the Indian freedom struggle. Women's status did not change much after independence. Okay, so women's status did not change more than after the independence. But women have grown in all walks of life since India gained independence. Women are now asserting their contribution in every sphere of life. So in the stage now present, women are now asserting they're working everywhere. So asserting their contribution, they're giving the more contribution than men. So they are giving their contribution in every sphere of life, each and every part of life. That is full of introduction and then the position of woman. What was the position of women in the ancient period, medieval period, and then British period. Okay, so the position of women in the ancient period. In the ancient Indus civilization of India, evidences show the worship of the mother goddess. Hence, the adoration for the mother is evident during the period. During the Rig Vedic period, it's believed that the position of wife was honored and the woman's position was acknowledged, especially in the performance of religious ceremonies. During later Vedic age, witnessed the transitional development in the status of women restricting a role in the social life except in the performance of religious sacrifices. Our social and political freedom was restricted. Sati became popular during the later Vedic period where the widows either chose for themselves or were forced to jump into the fire of their husbands. Okay, so what are the things in the ancient period? The position of women in the ancient period. So in the ancient period, there was a one evidence of worship of Mother Goddess has been found in the Indus Valley civilization of ancient India. Okay, so one evidence இருக்கு. Okay, what was the evidence? That evidence of worship of the mother goddess has been found in the Indus Valley civilization of ancient India. From that evidence, it is clear that women were respected at that time. All the women were respected at that time. At that time in the ancient period, the status of the wife in the Rigvedic period was admirable. Okay, the status of the wife in the Rigvedic period was admirable. The participation of women in religious ceremonies in particular was accepted, and also in the ancient period, all the women, their participation in that religious ceremonies, okay, in particular was accepted. Each and every ceremony, every religious ceremony, women were participated. And also, there were many changes in the status of women in the later Vedic period. After Vedic period, okay, during the Vedic period, there were many changes in the status of women. Their social and political freedom was restricted except for religious activities. Okay, so in the ancient period, women were respected at all the time, but in the Vedic period, their social and political freedom was restricted except religious activities. So the practice of conspiracy became popular during the post Vedic period. And also one more thing, the widows were mistreated, and also they have been forced to join their husband's funeral. ஓகே, ஸோ அவங்க ஹஸ்பண்ட் இறந்துட்டாங்கன்னா அவங்கள எரிக்கும் போது அவங்களும் அதில் விழணும் அப்படின்ற சொல்கிறாங்க. ஓகே, ஃபார் விடோஸ். அண்ட் தட் இஸ் த widows were added to the husband's wreckage either by force. Yeah. Next one is, what was the status of woman in the medieval period? The position of women in the society further deteriorated during the medieval period, and they suffered from many social evils such as sati, child marriage, female infantry, purdah system, and slavery, like that. Okay, so what are the things in the medieval period? We usually know that. So in the middle of the age, okay, in the middle age, the status of women in that medieval society become even worse, very, very, very worse in the middle age, because they were affected by many social evil. The women were affected by many social evil. What are social evil? Child marriages, female infant sale, slavery, and then sadi, child marriage. Okay, yeah, slavery. Yeah, other men's were thinking women don't want any school, don't want any education. Yeah, like that. Okay, usually there was a monogamy, but a polygamy prevailed among the wealthy people. So widow remarriage was rarely seen. Okay, so widow remarriage was rarely seen. Widow வந்து remarriage பண்ணக்கூடாது அந்த மாதிரி இருந்தது. And then Devadasi system was participated in some parts of India. In the Middle Ages, the condition of the widow became miserable. Little emphasis was placed on female education. And then in the Middle Age, little forced only placed on the female education. Not more than, okay, just a little forced was placed on the female education. This is what the status of women in the medieval age. And then British period. For centuries, women in the India had been subordinated to men and socially oppressed. The major effect of national awakening in the 19th century was seen in the field of social reform. The enlightened persons increasingly revolted against rigid social evils and outdated customs. Okay, what are the things in the British age? So, for centuries, women in India were submissive to men. Okay, submissive to men and socially oppressed. That is the first thing in the status in the British age. For centuries, women in India were submissive, subordinated, submissive to men and socially oppressed. At the beginning of 19th century, female literacy was very low compared to male education. Okay, at the beginning of the 19th century, at the beginning of the British age, the female education was lower compared to the male education. The first women's juvenile society was established in Calcutta. That is the first women's juvenile society was established in Calcutta in 1819. So these were placed in the British age. So the Charles Wood report of 1854 placed great emphasis on female education. And then in 1882, Indian Board of Education also started an elementary school for girls in also teacher training institutes. In 1982, the Indian Board of Education also started an elementary school for girls and also teacher training for girls. And then began entering university in the 1914, the service organization. What is a service? That is a nursing service. Okay, nursing service played a and as an organization played a one major role in training nurses. Yeah, that's it. That was the status of women in the British period.